about the time and knowing, because definitely is. That's my experience, because I've had so much, like a lot of the downloads or the energy things or the love zap or whatever. There's always a great, big, huge knowing that it was associated with it, and it's just like the revealing, secrets, and the revealing truth and whatever. Too.
When you're in that moment, when you feel that, there's no fear of anything.
No,
none whatsoever.
No, and that's
exist.
That's just the most beautiful thing, when you don't have any fear of anything. It's just like you can't be touched by lower vibrational stuff. Like fear, judgment, division, all that stuff. It's just like unbelievable, unbelievably freeing, like you said. I bet you've had some knowings too, Reva. Like would you describe your relationship with them as I think you did mention that briefly, that you just know things and maybe you don't know how you.
Yeah, I just kind of know. And then too, through some of my.
She's got a bad connection, but we'll bear with it.
Yeah, I'm back now. No, I can tell that, there's certain things they've always stressed to me, and peace is one. And I used to worry about a lot of things that Arla was talking about, politics and this and that and the other. And anymore, I don't pay any attention to none of it. And the other thing that was really important to me, I used to work in like cost accounting type of thing. And I always did projects that had to do with the environment. And one of the forest people, that was something they were pounding on me to do, was to go back and tell my people about how bad chemicals were. Don't mess with chemicals, and because of the water situation and this, that, the other. And that's always been an interest of mine. But Diana had specifically wrote down a letter to me, one transcribed to her, to tell me he actually wanted me to go back to one of my prior jobs and try to go in and convince people about, certain things. And I thought, oh my, how am I going to do that? And but I always put information out on my site sometimes of new inventions and different things that, to kind of help with our environment.
You're
and the chemicals.
Seeds. You are planting seeds, and that's what I like to do.
I do that a lot with the environment, but boy, he blasted me for not going back. I'm sure if I went in like I did before, and talked to the president of the company or somebody, they probably, be ready to haul me off maybe, but I don't know. But it was something that was very much in my heart, is about our woods and our land and our animals, all the little creatures that, not only do we depend on, but also they're building blocks. One block goes, another one shoves up, and the results can be catastrophic. And so I just get a sense of peace from them. And if I ever have stress or anything, my first thing is to go for a walk. I just shut the door, leave it all behind, and that's where you go to get that.
Did you ever run across this guy named Mike Emery? Mike Emery?
No.
He's got this group on Facebook, and he's some kind of PhD guy, and they make these I don't know what you call them, orgone energy things out of concrete and stuff, and they call them bubble things, and he has a way of charging it up, and and it cleans the atmosphere and changes the vibrational frequency of different things. And I know there's people out there, you're talking about inventions, and and different kind of things that people do. There's a lot of people are going out blessing the water and healing the water, and so yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big thumbs up to all that because it's all connected.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, we got a comment in chat that correlated with something that you said, Reva. So should we hear it?
Sure.
Okay. Susanna Bauer says, I've been on a huge ship in a dream. And we all know that these dreams are more than dreams, but she said in a dream. And there were many people inside of it. The rooms had soft, warm yellow lights, and the rooms had no hard edges. Everything was smooth. There was a walkway that led up to the top that had a huge garden. Wonder if this is the future. So the garden part linked up with what you were saying, your experience on the ship, right?
Yes. I remember plants in the rooms, and it was a nice light. I mean, it wasn't real bright or anything, but it was well lit. But the rooms were very spacious, very large, and it was just like all the way down the corridor, as far as you could see. It was what I was experiencing. But I knew it was more than a dream because I was told, don't go down to the next level. Don't go down there, And I just felt that was, and I thought about it and everything. And I thought, no, I got to go down there. I have to go down there. And I still feel that was very real to me, even though it felt like a dream state. I could remember, and everything was in color, even when I was on the sandbar with the other people, everything was just absolutely just like it was happening right then.
Yeah, that doesn't sound a, a real dream. Where most dreams are kind of fragmented and jumpy. That sounded like a real experience to me.
Did you feel that the
I,
garden was like food, a food source? Like it was, or was it?
I didn't really think either way about that. It's just kind of like I'm just soaking it all in, but I never really thought about that at that moment. But I'm pretty sure with plants being on a ship like that, they were food. I have no doubt, you know. Um,
You're about the fourth. You're about the fourth person who's talked about being on those ships. I think of them as arc ships, and I was heard rumors that if something bad would happen to the Earth, that there's enough of those ships to take a large amount of people off the planet and house them. We're talking about ships that are 10 kilometers high and 100 kilometers long. Huge. I mean, you can't think of that,
And plus you've
100
got
kilometers.
all the smaller ships that are out doing things that can still have a lot of people on those smaller ships. So, I mean, we were put here and we can be taken away from here, and that's not a bad thing. For most of us, we want to continue on this Earth Mother. Some people don't. Some people are ready to go. But I just want to do what it is I'm supposed to do. And regardless of what that is, uh, I know that it's something I'm supposed to do, and so I do it. And Michael, I've been on a few ships too. I've never talked a whole lot about my life with the Star Nation people, but they've been an active part of my life pretty much my whole life. The ancestor grandmothers that I talk about sometimes gave me the name of Shining Star. And I was like, no, no, I'm not a shining star. And they I think Lee said this is not about being a shining star. This is about shining star. And you have stardust in you and you have earth dust in you. And they are pretty much identical. So it's interesting for me to see all this stuff. And thank you so much, Reva, for talking about that, because the more people talk about it, the more others are going to understand about what's
But
going on.
you know, I have thought about it for a long time, and you know, I don't have any fear. Like if they would come and want me to go, I would be one of those people interested in going. I
Yeah,
would, for
yeah,
the exploring. That's just, you know,
yeah,
but it's just tremendous to be able to, you know, have these little bits and pieces of things, and to see the things in the woods. And I mean, I never took any major things in high school about history, nothing about American Indian stuff, nothing about geology, nothing about all this kind of stuff. And I was a accounting major, really. And to get into all this later in life, and after I retired, um, you know, it was a blessing for me. It really was. And because it just opened my eyes to a lot of things and to life. I was very much into career and, you know, go, 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 and work, work, drive money, work, drive money, you know, that's not a good life to have. And I think they want us to have that more tranquil life, that more enjoyment, that more quality of uh, what it really was intended to be.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. You know, we were given the gift of being human, whatever part of us is human, and to be on this planet. And when we come to realize that, it's like, this is really special. You know, this is special that I get to live here. And yes, there's hard stuff goes on, but you know, that's a part of the human existence. And you know, that's what we're learning. And the more of us that share about those things and plant those seeds, and that's exactly what we do. We plant seeds when we share.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, there's somebody out there that needed that seed planted for them, and they felt it when, you know, it was planted. We may never know the outcome of the seeds we plant, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is to continue to plant those seeds and share, regardless about what other people think about it. You know, I don't live
Yeah.
my life to the satisfaction of everybody else. I know where I'm supposed to be, and um, I just I just want to, when it's time for me to go, wherever I go, and however I go, that I know that I did pretty much what I was supposed to do, and you know, I can go out hollering giddy up yeehaw, and you know, I'll probably be back. So it's it's just pretty cool.
So I think it's really amazing you have so many friends that you can just go out in the woods. How far away are the woods from your house?
Oh, just about a mile, not very far
Yeah.
at all.
Mm.
And I go to two or three different places. We have a state park within maybe a mile and a half from where I live, and I go over there and hike a lot. And
Oops. There she is.
oops, I lost you. what I was saying is there's a state park very close to where I live, and I go over there quite a bit. And I've had some really nice experiences over there. And so I have woods accessible to me all the way around me where I live. And I can look out the window anytime, day or night, and look for things. And I've even got up and looked out at about 3 o'clock in the morning or better, you know. These things basically have contacted me on their own. You know, I had inklings of things happening around where I live, but not really solid concrete things, you know. But then when I heard the jump over the fence and the cat killing that night, I thought, oh, gee, you know, we got something else going on here. And the more I noticed, and I watched the portal, and there's a lot of things coming and going through, you know, time and space.
I got a
And
portal a couple doors down from me, a couple of houses down. There's just a portal in this guy's yard and all kind of stuff. Rats and squirrels and all kind of things have been manifested through that. I know, just know for a fact. So yeah, I'm not really sure the whole story of the portals. I just know that they're real, and I think they can be anywhere. And some people can, some of the beings can make portals, like the star
But
people
we
just make a
can.
portal, and then you can come
Yep.
up and down right
Yep.
in your own house.
Well, I have
So
one in my kitchen, you
there
know,
you go.
and and you know, I know through life, I used to years ago, people would call me if they thought something was going on their place. They thought, well, maybe I have a portal here. So they would call me and I would go to the land and do the land assessment energy wise and figure out. And I think the funniest place I ever felt the energy where a portal would be conducive was down in the basement of a building in a small town back in the corner. It was almost like this little square room that probably wasn't 3 by 3. But when I stepped into that, I felt that energy and I was like, yeah, I know what this feels like. But you know, yeah, they can be anywhere. That there's some areas that the energy is more conducive to them, but they can be anywhere.
If you got a kitchen portal in your kitchen, you can probably take takeout from anywhere in the universe, right?
I wish. All they do is transport the dogs in and out. And they do that, which is kind of freaky sometimes when you know your animal is not in the house and then they come walking out of the kitchen, or you know your animals in the house and had gone in the kitchen to do something and they weren't in the house anymore. So,
Mm.
but I mean, what better place to have a portal? And if I could figure the takeout thing, I would, but I ain't got that, got that
I tell
figured
you
yet.
what's interesting too is when I first started studying the portal and everything, I noticed all these little heads around it and different things. And until I got my photography a little better, um, I really couldn't tell, but then I figured it out. The things that are coming and going, sometimes the forest people gather around that big portal in this field, and it's like they're looking into the abyss, waiting on for whatever it is to come through.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been extremely huge things come through there, and then other things that I'm sure, like with everything, there's light and dark and good and evil, you know. But there's some things that are back in the woods that I took a picture of this like 6-foot bird, and it's got very tiny wings and it walks bipedal, but it's built kind of like a human the way it stands, but it's not an ostrich. And it had rust feathers and white feathers on it, and gray legs, and you know, where that thing came from, I have no idea.
That would be a primal being. And primal beings are very different looking than what we even see with the Sasquatch people or the dogmen. And what I mean by primal being is a being from the beginning, or a being that has existed for a long time. And I will say, Kentucky, like I said earlier, I saw primal beings that I had never never seen before in the Daniel Boone Forest. So I don't know if Kentucky is conducive to that or not.
Didn't Daniel Boone have a Sasquatch experience? Was it him?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What was that all about? Anybody can relate that story?
Well,
Any-
there was a Sasquatch that was supposed to have been killed, I believe, and it was taken and placed in a cave. And I've been there where that supposedly happened, but there was nothing there in that cave. Um, but I think that story, yeah, and you know, that's kind of a small view of what it was, but there was supposed to be Sasquatch bones that were left, or a body that had been left in a cave there. And I think it's around Campbellsville. I don't know. Have you heard of any of that, Reva?
Yes, I think you're right on that. You know, I hate to say this, but Kentucky is a state of a lot of prehistoric things and relics and different things. We don't have a very good system of collection and keeping them, and you know, this kind of thing. And of course, if people find out there's something there, you know, it's very easy that for them to remove them and take them. And but yes, I've heard that Daniel Boone story a lot.
Yeah.
Well, what was the connection Daniel Boone had to the story?
Well, it
What was
happened
this?
during Daniel Boone's time, for one
Oh, okay.
thing.
But he was aware of it?
I I guess Reva probably knows more about it than I do, being there.
Well, I'm like you. It's kind of sketchy. I had read that story, but it's been, oh gee, many years ago, and I can't remember all the details of it, other than basically, you know, kind of like what you had. And but you know, I'm sure there has been many things found in the state of Kentucky. Now,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people won't even come forward if they find something, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's the
Yeah.
other thing on some of these discoveries.
Right.
How long you been living in? How long you been living in this current house?
I am been here probably about 20 years, but the
So
activity only started about 14, 15 years ago. And but it has continued on. And I haven't been in the back part as much uh, due to a lot of reasons, but one of them is one of the messages I had received from Diana was there was 3 big males back there, and they and this is something that's different about the forest people. The women in their life, their partners and things, they are very cautious who talks to them, and they don't like their females talking to us sometimes. And Kiki wanted to talk with me and Diana all the time, but this one Sasquatch, Bokar, didn't want her talking to us. And in fact, he tried to scare me off talking and communicating through Diane. And I told Diane, I said, we're going to have to understand their culture a little more, you know. But he actually screamed at me. I thought my hair was going to blow off of me. but he had caught me outside, and I mean, he gave it was like wind was blowing on me, and it was strong. And I thought, oh boy, maybe we better. So I talked to Diana about it. But Diana, she was trying to understand, their love is different than our love. There's no permission granted. There's no this, no that. And it's just take, And so Diana couldn't get over the fact, that Takiki couldn't really get away from him. He was very primal. He didn't have the ability of talk speak, but a friend of his did. And that's how Diana found out about this connection, that he didn't really like us talking to her very much. And of course, she loved talking to us because she was very intellectual, and she liked hiking with us. She actually did hike with us a time or two. And we would play this game. I know one New Year's Eve, we followed her signals out in the woods. She had placed different things in the woods and for us to follow. And we played this game of finding all the things and coming back around to where I lived. And I've got a picture of one of the gifts I had sent Brian. It looks like a deer head on a tree. A friend of mine calls it a gestalt. And but it was amazing, and that was my gift that day. She liked to refer to herself as the timber lady, because she liked to construct these huge, above my head, structures with logs and balance them like, anything. And she did all that herself, and she was proud of that strength. And but she was there until they had to take her away because she got so sick.
Well, that was an amazing story. Just to recap, so go back to the beginning. So this alpha male was angry at you for trying to talk to his wife, but then you talked to your friend who was a psychic, and she couldn't talk to him, so it ended up being a four-way psychic communication. So she was talking to his psychic friend, and they would talk back and forth about what he was saying. So there's like a four-way conversation between two psychic human, a psychic Sasquatch, and a non-psychic human and a non-psychic Sasquatch. That is a great story. It's a great story.
And it, it was amazing that evening, because I told Diana, I said, we have to respect, they have multiple wives, but he dearly loved Takiki, and he wanted to protect her no matter what. And they had children. They had two little boys, Tito and Caleb. And, in fact, later on, me and him became very close friends. But, he knew he could depend on me no matter what. And he knew I was trying to explain to Diana about, they know nothing about women's lip, okay? They have no idea about nothing like that. It's like, primal relationships. And many, many wives. When I asked Kaka about his relationship and children, many was what I got. Many wives, many children. And I think in Takiki's case, I think she had multiple sets of twins. And I think she was pregnant almost every year and had a baby. I do.
Did they tell you why? Did they explain why some of them are psychic and some are not? Is it something they have to develop like we do?
I'm wondering.
You can chime in on that too.
It could be that, or it could be in their part of their genes and growing up and changes, different things inserted. I don't know if he did ever have it, you know? And I wonder that about, you know, we talk about rogues sometime, and I really haven't ran into a rogue like other people talk about. And I'm wondering if those people, DNA is maybe more primal. I don't know how Arla feels about it. You know, I'm speculating here. So,
Well, from what I understand, they all have the ability. We all have the ability. You can choose to use it or choose not to use it.
Right.
Some of them love this earth so dearly that that's what their existence, you know, that's what they want from their existence. At the point that anything is needed for them to remember, it's there. I mean, it's for them. I mean, their vibrations are so much different than ours and so much higher than ours that the things they need, they already know how to manifest in a heartbeat. And that goes for anything, what they want to eat, what they want to do, how they want to be cared for, you know, whatever. Um, but it's the same for them as it is for us. They all have that ability. We all have that ability. Um, we just choose, actually, whether to acknowledge it or not.
Right. Right. Well, you know that, like for instance, I have had mind speak, and it's not, you know, I'm talking about the classic mind speak, like a voice in my head. But sometimes, you know, it is a learning process, because when RE told me to tell you that he loved you,
Hmm.
initially I thought, was that just me thinking that? But then it kept being repeated, and he kind of made it known. So it's just a lot of it is learning to recognize what's what, and that sometimes your own thoughts are, well, the thoughts you have in your head are independent of you. And you know, I've experienced that a lot, but on this one, it was kind of like this was a direct message from him. And then when I just accepted it, then I knew it was, because then I got clearer.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty
And,
cool.
and
Cool.
that's the thing with accepting a message that we're getting, being through telepathy or whatever. It's just accepting, okay, I got this message now. What am I supposed to do with it? Oh, I'm supposed to give it. So, but Ari and I have such a special relationship. Um, and I know very well that he does love me and that I love him. Um, far past what we understand as love on this earth.
Yeah.
Uh,
You want to hear? You want to hear
I
something? Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, go
You want to
ahead.
hear something funny with that? You know how I always, you know, like I don't necessarily mean it, but I always say something silly or something to him or whatever. So I said, do you love her? Do you love her as much as me? And I could feel his laughter.
Yeah, yeah.
Just big laughter, like, oh geez.
Oh yeah. Yes. He's laughter all over. So, uh,
Reva, do they come and visit you at your house? Do they interact with you at your home?
yes, I have had them interact with me pretty close to the house. Yeah.
Like banging on the
And,
walls and stuff, or what?
and
Tell us some stuff.
well, I had a juvenile one night banging on the house, and I didn't really, you know, uh, I tried to tell him, you know, you shouldn't bang around too much, you know, and because it's so loud, you know, waking up other people and stuff. And but the one Takiki used to walk down, it's kind of like a fence row, and it's got wire and posts and stuff, and she would be right inside that watching me as I would go out and do stuff outside. And one of them told Diana one time I entertain them. So I probably do, washing my car and going out and doing little different things, you know, and stuff. But mainly right now I go to this one wooded area to do a lot of research and more peace and tranquility type things there. And but I still always leave. I have 2 gifting trees, one at my place and one that I do in the park. And I always take them a blessing, you know, something that I have that they can use. And if I don't have it, I go get it and take it to them. And that's where I had a really neat experience. There was one coming through, believe it or not, from Mount Shasta.
Wow.
And his name was Tilbert. And he was the hierarchy as well. He had a couple of females with him and about 18 or 20 little children. And they're taking him to Virginia or West Virginia. But through my conversation with Diana, he didn't understand us at first, and he knocked a big tree over. And Diana had gone over the hill for a minute, and I think she got too close to some baby nests. And so this tree come down, and I kept telling him, I said, we mean you no harm. I said, she didn't realize, you know. And then he started talking to Diana, and I found out he needed water. He said, your water, your river water is not real good. That's what he said. And he said, I said, can you use food, you know, like, and I mentioned some things. So I took him the next day up there. I took him watermelon, I took him plums, and I took blackberries. I took as much stuff as I could. And that's the video I sent Brian that is at the top of the hill in the park. And if you play it a couple of times, you'll notice this red orb. I asked him before I left, I said, I brought you fresh water and food. And I said, if you would do me a favor, just give me a whoop or knock or something. And he did better than that. He did 3 things. First thing he did was this red orb immediately shoots out of the woods that I'm filming. Then you see this brown splotch go over. It's kind of like a shadow. It goes over twice, comes back. And then if you listen real close over the hill, you'll hear him tell the kids to do this little whoop. And they're all doing that little whoop, and you can hear it. It's very faint, but that video was, I hadn't been there and left that more than 2 or 3 minutes. And I told him, I said, I wish you all well and everything. But they were actually teaching them is what all this was about, this relocation.
So you're saying he was from Washington State, and he was actually on a field trip with you know, kindergartners or something, and 2 other women escorts. That's phenomenal, because you know those little kids didn't just walk across the United States.
No.
There was some kind of something else, some other way he got there, because that's a long walk. But that's just a phenomenal story.
Mount Shasta's in California.
California, right?
They know how to take and get from one place to the other in the blink of an eye, you know. And
Wow.
they have a communication system too, you know, from one group to the other to get word out about something. You know, if there's a mishap or somebody needs to know something, their communication skills are so fast. It's just like they got their own AT&T, you know. I mean, it's just like bam, bam, bam. They all
It's a
know.
telepathic network.
They know the minute I enter that park where
They know
I'm at and
before,
what I'm
they know
doing.
before you. They know before you enter the park.
I bet.
Because time is not linear for them. They've proven that to me. They know before you even formulate a thought. That's how they can leave a breadcrumb trail of evidence you walk upon in real time, they're already setting it up in their time.
But you
That
know,
makes
I thought that was phenomenal for him to do that, because to come shooting out this red orb, and then somebody said it was bugs going across the screen. I can't command a swarm of bugs to go over, come back, go over again, and come back again. It just doesn't happen. And if you notice the time on that video, right after I wasn't up on that hill more than 5 minutes, and all this happened just like bam, bam, bam. And I listened.
How big was the orb, please?
If I was to look at it, it looked like a dollar coin coming out of the woods, and it happens immediately on the left side of the screen. And then there's kind of like a tree here to the side of me, and he kind of walks over in front and back and over in front and back, and that's his energy.
Was it like
And
was he like
then,
a brown shadow? Because I've seen a brown shadow cloaking
yeah,
looking
it's
thing.
kind of like a brown smoke in a way. You know, it does kind of give you the flavor of a swarm of bugs, but it's a little more dense than that. You know, you can't really, but it floats over and floats back. And then the amazing thing was hearing all these little ones down over the bank, you know, go whoop, 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 whoop. And they did that for quite a while. And
Yeah.
it just amazed me. And I was glad I could help them out, you know. And so I took my video and away I went. And that was less than probably 5 minutes, all of it.
Do you know what they did by doing that? Telling that?
No.
You showed them who you are.
Oh,
You
Mhm.
showed them who you are, that you're kind and caring, and you're going to do what it is you know to do to help someone. And
that's good.
that's pretty special. You kind of aced it now.
Yeah. Well, they have showed me some wonderful things, and I sent Brian some photos of things that I hope
Yeah.
he gets to show
Yeah,
at some
we'll get to
point
them
in
in a bit.
time.
We'll get to them in a bit. I got them called up. We can watch
And
them. We'll look at some
but you
photos.
know,
Of them. I was
they're
Oh boy,
was gonna-
photos.
gonna ask you guys, and I got my own, you know, I've talked about this myself many times, so I don't necessarily have to chime in on it. Got my own feelings and opinions and knowings on it. But why do you think, I'll ask Arla and all of you guys, why do you think that the Sasquatch are connecting with certain people? What are the factors that make them want to connect with you know, certain people over other people?
I'll
start,
answer
Arlen?
real quick because I'm going to have to go. I've got to go get ready to go practice our production. They're contacting a lot of people,
Mhm.
not just people who are willing to connect with them from the beginning. They are contacting massive numbers of people. Some people can continue on with them, and some people can't. It's that basic thing of one of the things that Kashim said, we will come to you in your beliefs, what you think at that time and what you believe at that time. And then it's up to us to grow, to let go of the things that are not going to help us, and the teachings for us to understand what it is they're trying to bring to us. I think that a lot of the encounters that people have that are scary totally freak them out. They don't want to have anything to do with it anymore. That was a contact made with a hope that those people would be able to get past that and then be able to on a deeper level and began to grow as they were taught, but they couldn't do it. That's like, if you walk into a room and you say, well, we've got this to do, how many people want to do it? Well, some are going to be able to do it. Some may want to do it, but they just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people who started down the road because of a bad encounter. And then at some point, they just couldn't do this anymore. They couldn't let go of all the things that they were hanging on to, their preconceived ideas of how life is.
Yeah.
So what's happening is, by those massive numbers of people being connected to or having an encounter, you've got a whole bunch of people now, because of all the seed planters who are out there planting what it is that they know is how it is, that these are not monsters that are coming out of the woods to eat us and do all of this other stuff. They are there to help us grow. And that's because they're
Yeah.
hearing stories from people who are bringing those stories, like gets brought here at Pork and Beans. So that information's out there. But then there are some that they just can't do it. But I think the numbers are going, and I think, you guys have seen this, that there is more of a growth and an understanding of there's so much more here going on
Good answer. I
Yeah,
agree with
than
that
what we
totally.
think.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
So, and I've got to go because I've got to go practice. And I'm echoing too, and I do not like to hear my voice. So,
Thank
you
you,
guys
Arla.
enjoy the rest of the show. It was awesome being with you guys today. Awesome, Reva. Thank you. And
Thank
thank
you.
you, Beings, the
Thanks,
most
Bob.
handsome man in the world, and my son, Pork.
Well, he can't help it. He can't help it. It's just genetics.
Yeah, right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was cool. So you
She's
want to get
part
down
of-
to some, you want to get down to
Well,
some of
that's
your
in it.
pictures?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Did you answer the question of why some people?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Did
I
you
think-
guys want to
I
take on that too?
I just wanted to say, Arla's very right in what she's saying. And the only thing I can add it to is just the openness of your mind and your heart when you go. Don't close it off and say there's no possibility of anything out here but trees and grass and soil. There's many things in the woods. And I really think we should be teaching our children and our children's children that there is more out there in the woods, and what to expect, and how to communicate. And I think it's all extremely important. But the openness and the love, I think that is, they know I love them. I even include them in my prayers, like I do about my family, because I do consider them family and friends.
Yeah.
And
Of course. Yeah, I concur with everything Arla said, and with what you said about the open heart and whatever. That's kind of the requirement you need to take it further. To having a real connection with them, you've got to be open that way. So should we get into some pictures?
sure.
And I don't know if they're in any particular order, but we'll just bring them up as I have them.
Okay.
Let me just see here. Give me a second.
That is a picture of Dakita. And that blue picture was sandwiched in between the picture in front of that and the picture behind it that day was green. It was woods, all woods. And in fact, this happened the same evening that I believe I went up on the hill with Tilbert that did the video, that orb coming out. She had inserted this on my phone. I did not take this. And you can see two orbital eyes. You can see the nose bridge and the big forehead. And of course, the big muzzle, the primate muzzle. But that is, I'm pretty sure Dakita did that. And that is a picture of her.
Well,
And
go ahead.
the reason I had sent that to you, I had noticed some people saying, you know, they couldn't believe sometimes that they lost a picture, or, you know, something else popped up on their screen, or their electronics popped out, you know, for whatever reason. And they can do anything with our cell phones if they really want to do it.
Well, I concur with that. They've my experience is they have taken many pictures that they just put on my camera. They've also removed a lot of pictures that were on my camera, and they've added pictures onto my camera after the fact. And there was one time, even when I was relating a story, and this is a big, long, complicated story, I won't get into the whole thing. There's a bunch of different elements of them connecting people and stuff together involved in the story. But basically, I was discussing how they can remove pictures from cameras with a group of people that I was talking to that were kind of like just new at this. And the guy I had taken up into the woods that day, who was one of the guys, I said to him, show this guy the picture that we took of the mushrooms on the broken stick, because it was part of what was unfolding that day. It was part of what was going on. And, you know, so I'm telling him about how they can take pictures off of cameras and stuff. And like I said, show this guy this particular picture. And guess what? It was gone.
Wow.
It was gone. Every other picture was there except for that one. It was gone. So, you know, they kind of, you know, put that ID and that reality out there right away. And then actually later on in the day, they added another picture to the camera phone that was in the exact same place as the picture that was removed. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. They can do all that stuff. That's absolutely a fact. And I like that you said that, because it, you know, when we talk about these stories and we have the same experiences and whatever, and people hear about them, it opens them up to maybe wanting to share their experiences that they had, and it makes it more real for them, instead of like, well, this is weird and just happened to me, and like nobody will believe that. So that's,
I often wondered if Dakita, if I could ever get her to maybe type a message to me, you know, or something, but they've never ever tried that. None of them never tried that.
well, my wife actually had something like that on Facebook one time. We were talking about blood on the pillows, because there was something going on where either we were taken by aliens and worked on or something. There was something to that effect going on. And we didn't even know each other at the time. And it was happening to both of us at the same time. And we were talking about it with another fellow. And all of a sudden, you know, on Facebook where the little magnifying glass is and you can type something in.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about this, and all of a sudden there was a message, blood on the pillows or something, like just came up. that came from somebody that you know, that
Wow.
didn't type it. So yeah, just amazing stuff. Okay, here's a really nice track.
That came from the park. I had gave a lecture over there and one weekend, and I went down through the camp area just talking to some people and everything. And these little kids said, come here, we have something to show you. And I said, okay, we got a Bigfoot print. And I thought, cool. So I went over there, and sure enough, it was right there. And it was right within 10 feet probably of a camper. And over the hill a little bit, it's kind of got a little circle and a campfire thing there. And I told them how to preserve it and get plaster and get it out of the ground. And I thought the adults and the kids would take it for a souvenir, but they didn't. So I came back and I took the print, and that was the best print I've ever took. And it was awesome.
That's a beauty.
It is.
There's no question
was-
about, there's no question
I
about
think
what we're looking at there.
I think it was about 15 inches on that. And, but, I always have a problem getting in a hurry and wanting to get them out of the ground, and when it's wet, of course, unless you got somebody else with you help lifting on the other side, that's a pretty heavy cast to keep in one piece. And I've been known to break them. And so I was so careful with this one, and I don't cast too many of them anymore. I got some little baby casts at home, but they don't really show toes too much. They're more like a little fat foot, solid and little fat foot. And, but this is the best one I've had.
Beautiful. Look at the definition of the toes. That's a beautiful
Oh, yeah.
cat. It's a real nice one.
And he didn't look like he had any foot problems either. I mean, I kind of listened to some of the experts on those, what you could find on them. Now this, turn it sideways.
I don't know if I
And
can. I'm not sure if I can.
okay, I'll just ask the people to turn their phone one turn to the right and they'll have it. These are two dog men, and of course, dog men come in, I think, 5 or 6 classifications. These two were caught with a game trail camera. I
Are you
had a
talking about
habit.
here? Right here?
Yes,
This?
yeah. And that actually, if you notice, they're levitating. And we talk about Bigfoot sometimes seems like they're floating on the top of the ground, and everything. And I have kind of witnessed that too. And these things also have a connection, similar, I think, with ETs like Bigfoot does, because their genetics, if you notice on this, their bushy tails at the bottom. The one at the top is the male, and he's looking out over the woods. And this was January 12th, 2017 at 10:45 that morning. It was kind of dark out. It was getting ready to rain. And the female underneath, she's got actually a little small head up here on her left shoulder, and she's carrying a baby. But how I got that, I was testing my game trail camera. It was a fluke. And I just waved my hand in front of it before I left to see if I had much of a charge left. And of course it did. And I went home and I thought, well, I'll look through the pictures. And I saw these 2 big black dots. And then when I enlarged it, I could see very clearly what they were. And I had an experience before I left. They didn't like me there. And it kind of got creepy feeling. And as I was walking out, there's little cabins around, and something was standing right by the side of one of them. And it took the window shade on the outside awning and that canvas and just flipped it up. No person standing there, just took it and flipped it up. And I thought, okay, it's time for me to get out of here, because I could tell they didn't want me there. But I know very little about dogmen. That was one of my experiences with them. But they kind of seem to seek me out sometimes. But if you notice, their feet are not touching those branches at all, and they're not hanging on to anything.
The other thing that's really amazing here is that the photograph of the trees is incredibly sharp and detailed, got a little tiny branches, and both of these beings are all fuzzy and blurred out. And to me, that's that means that they were not completely in this realm, or they had some kind of energy thing going on.
I think they did. And I could feel, now talking about feeling the energy type thing, I do feel danger sometimes when they're around me. And they have sought me out in other locations, dog men. I don't know why. Um, I do occasionally, I will tell you, I carry a revolver on me when I'm out there by myself. And for this reason, I run, but not as fast as I used to. And I would never hurt a Sasquatch. But I feel like the dog men are very aggressive in our area. And even when I've gone camping, I've had one approach my tent and just suck through his teeth, you know, and snarl at me and be up at the top of my head. And I know one evening in the tent, I was by myself and I thought, okay, I'm going to take this out and lay it where I got it handy. And the minute I did that, he left. But these two, other than flipping the canvas up on the cabin, that was enough to get me out of there. I thought the vibe's not right here and they don't want me here. So I'm going.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got somebody messaging me that's showing up on here about the next guest. So I'm gonna just say that it's showing up on the show, so.
Okay. That's no problem, dear. But I just thought I'd throw that in there. That's something unusual I came across. And her having that baby up there close to her neck, you know, it's just phenomenal because, you know, these things have to weigh a good deal of weight. And I mean, there's none of those branches that are curved or like they're weighed down or,
No.
you know.
Yeah, what Bean
But
said is a very good observation. Everything is like crystal clear except for these two images here. That's
Yeah.
not normal. That's not normal.
And they
No.
also look like they're in front of the trees, like they're closer to the camera. Those, I don't know how far away those trees are.
Yeah, which
I
means
would,
that they should be clear and the back should be fuzz, but it's the total opposite. So yeah, very good point.
and but you know, it was just amazing to pick those up. I thought, these two big dark things, what are they? You know, and lots of times I'll put my SD cards on a little digital camera because I can float it up and float it down, move it all around real easy, you know, and don't even have to have my laptop or anything. And I've picked up a lot of stuff in doing that.
Why did you think they were dogmen? Because, and I don't doubt it, but I mean, to me right here, they just look kind of like fuzzy. Did you see them clearer at some point or?
Well, yes. On my little digital camera, you can see, well, the top figure, that guy, he has a muzzle like a dog and his bushy tail like a dog. And then her, if you notice, their ears are on top of their head, pointing up. And it just, you know, them together as a pair with a baby, and they're not Sasquatchy in any way, shape, nor form. And I knew we had dogmen around, but I had never ever seen them before. But with the vibes I was getting and everything, and looking at this, I thought that's the only thing it could be. Now, I did have another, I didn't get a picture of this one. Like I said, there's about 5 or 6 different classifications of them. I talked to the gentleman that had his show one time, but it was before I had this stuff happen. And, but just about a month ago, I had a sighting of one that was walking bipedal, and his ears were on the top of his head. But some of them look more like regular dogs, like these do. And some of them look more like a wolf, and they're standing up, walking bipedal. And that's kind of what I saw with the thing a month ago. It looked nothing like these. But I think the reason it's like this, these are the, I don't want to say more docile ones, but I guess that is the word. You know, the higher you go up the classification, the more aggressive they are.
Yeah, well, people just, excuse me, people describe them as looking vastly different from one to the other.
And, you know, and I kind of find some of the Sasquatch that way, just depending on, you know, the situation and everything. Like the one I saw on the highway was as clean as a whistle, and Kaka was clean. There's that gestalt that looks like a tree effigy, is I guess is what I would call it. But that New Year's Eve, me and Diana Maynard went hiking. They had left her something in the wood as a gift, and this was my gift that they left me. And I just thought it was awesome. They know I like deer and I like birds and rocks, and lots of times I'll get feathers or something, but this was phenomenal. I'd never seen anything like this.
Well, what
And
are we looking at here? Are you talking about these two things here?
oh yes, this is shaped like a deer with horns, and it's just awesome to see this on a tree. I probably, if I was walking through, I don't know if I would have caught that, you know, and but I was able to get it.
Okay, we lost her for a second.
Yeah, I lost.
So you said, were these two pieces here, were they placed in this hole, or are they part of the tree?
They're part of the tree, and so I left it. And to kind of give you an idea too, I didn't give you a photo of this, but not too far from my bedroom window is a tree that's got a face of a Bigfoot on it, and he's smiling. And he has been in that tree for a long time.
Yeah, I believe that. I've
And but I just
big
thought,
boulders and stuff where I've seen their images on them, and in trees and stuff too. So yeah, that's for sure.
and you know, but to have this on a tree, them knowing, you know, I do love deer, and I love, you know, watching them and everything, and taking pictures of them, and it was just phenomenal for them to do that.
Yeah. So we don't have your, we can hear your voice real clear, but we don't have your picture,
That's
which
okay.
the voice is the most important thing.
Alrighty. And what you're
What are we
going to
looking
show
at
me,
here? Almost looks like a flying saucer or something. What's going on here?
I can't see what you're showing, dear. Is it the lighted up little vessel
Yeah, it's a
in
little,
in the dark?
looks like
Okay.
a lamp or something.
That
Looks like an orange orb, with bright orange. Oh, you
okay.
can see because of your camera? You can't see?
No, I can't see it on my phone, but I can tell you what it is. That is a vessel. It looks like a little bubble, but if you look really close inside, there is two little beings in there, and those are small forest people, like baby Sasquatches, and either they're being taken somewhere or they're being brought back. But I got that on camera, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I have on some other film, and this is where I'll tell you, one of the things Arla was talking about was small crafts. They do take the children in small crafts. You know, I don't know if they're easier to handle, but if they're sick, I had this one picture of this little small disc. I mean, it probably wasn't 4 feet around or 3 feet. And inside the lid had popped up, and there's a baby Sasquatch, and they had let it out up in the top of the tree. And that's very true about the different sizes of vessels they have to transport people, and also, you know, levitation and different things going on. I have pictures of reptilians being like dropped off or picked up, and different things going on. But our universe, we're learning, but we still have a lot to learn, and compared to what they have, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can shapeshift and they can change energy and they can, so it doesn't necessarily mean that whoever was in this vessel was that size. They just could have been transporting
Yeah.
them in that size.
And
So you get your camera back, because it's going to be hard to go through these pictures if you can't see them.
yeah, I can't see him anymore. The only thing I ask you, dear, and I'm going to leave you because I can't see things, but just show the video. And I really have appreciated being on your show. And you just call me anytime.
I don't think I have the video, because I took everything from email and I didn't see a video on email.
Oh, okay.
But if you want to send it to me again, I will put it in.
Okay.
I will include it in the
And-
show. Sometimes
and-
videos don't do well here either. But if you want to send me the video and the specific one, I can
Okay.
put it on. So you can't get your camera back at all?
No, I haven't been able to get my camera back. And so I don't know why, but
Okay, well, I'm going to stop sharing then. So you do have to
Okay.
go. You want to wrap it up?
I will have to go, dear, but I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. And if you ever need me again, just give me a holler. I'd be
Okay,
glad to
Can we
talk
just
to
can we
you.
just quickly ask you the question we ask every guest at the end of the show, pretty much? Do you have a couple
Yeah.
minutes?
Sure.
So how has your life changed since 2011 or 12 when the Sasquatch came into your life? What are the changes that they have facilitated in you and your perspective?
I think it's made me calmer. And the other thing is the spiritualness of the people is so great. And it makes a big difference. And those are the two main things. And learning from others.
Okay. Did you want to give anybody, and I will put this, I want you to send me some links that I can include in the YouTube video for people to get a hold of you, but just, do you want to tell people how they can get a hold of you?
Sure. I wanted to let you know that I have a Facebook page, Bigfoot Madness, and you can go out and read from the very beginning, all the stories, because when I started this, I started recording, and the newest stories are at the top and the older stories are at the bottom of my page. But nothing's ever been removed. I've never photoshopped anything on there. What you see is what it is. And Brian knows I'm not very computer literate, but I just don't know anything about photoshopping. The only thing I've ever done is enlarged them, or to bring the detail out more for people. And the dog men's out there and the videos out there as well during that time period. And and the stick lifts, I put as much out there as possible for people.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you so much for showing up. You're just one of the most fantastic storytellers. This is exactly what Pork and Beans is all about. People who are friends with the Sasquatch, and then they have stories, and your stories are all just wonderful, just heartfelt. You know, the Sasquatch are taking care of you, and they're willing to have you come live with them, and you give them food, and they're helping you out, and it's just the most amazing. It's wonderful, really. What a wonderful life.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people say, if I live alone, I should be lonely. But I say, I don't. I'm not lonely because, going to the woods, I have everything I need there. And it's just awesome to be involved with them. And I'll send you some more photos and that video, Brian. And Pork and Beans, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, in Messenger, send me the links to your channel, your group, your Facebook group, whatever you have, and I will include them in the video. And thank you very much for coming. Yeah, I agree with Beans. You were a wonderful wonderful, beautiful guest, and your stories were wonderful. They were valid. They were deep. They were touching.
I learned some stuff.
You know, I always learn something from them, and I appreciate that. I wanted to let your viewers know too, there's a book out on Amazon that I'm proud of, Bigfoot Madness, The Hidden Colony. And it is available out there in Kindle too. And
That's your book?
that's my book. And the Kentucky Squatching book, I wrote it first. It was more for the young people to get them interested, you know, in Kentucky and squatching. And it's about like 14 years old and younger. But I don't hold anything back in Bigfoot Madness, The Hidden Colony. And anybody would enjoy that book.
Awesome.
Well, Brian, you need to put the links to that book in the description, and also in the edit, you need to find the book and show the cover of it. You know, right where we're talking now.
Yeah. So you send me you send me everything. You send me all the info, all the links to your books. Send me a picture of the book, your Facebook group, all of that stuff. Send that to me in Messenger, and I will include it. Oh, in the video, and we'll make sure we get that out there.
Okay, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
So on behalf of
Yeah.
Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans, this has been the Pork and Bean Show. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you, REVA McMANIS and ARLA CAILLEACH for co-hosting with us. And thank you, everybody, for listening in the group. And, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Sasquatch BC, The True Story. I also have a book out there on Amazon called A Sasquatch Story, My Life with the Clan of RE. And, something I'm proud of there. And so we appreciate you all. And
I wanted to add, anybody who has stories, that are friends of Sasquatch, that have stories, or have amazing stuff going on in their life with the Sasquatch, Dogman, ETs, whatever it is, please get in touch with Brian or Mike, and we'll see about having you on the show.
Yeah. Or if you know anybody that you want to,
or if you know somebody, yeah, you can send them our way.
Yeah, we would appreciate that. Or yeah, especially if somebody that you really admire, that you would like to hear us talk to and interview, please do that. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mr. Beans, for showing up today.
I am so beautiful to me. Can't you see? I'm everything I ask for. I'm everything I need. I am so beautiful to me. Everybody should have that attitude. If you know, this life is beautiful, so champion.
Yeah, and apparently to everybody else, because you are the world's handsomest man. So
light within for the win.
Yep. Okay, everybody. See you next. Oh, next show we have the lady who was messaging me, and let me just quickly.
Did you make an event for her? Because I looked at events, I didn't see her thing on the event page.
I did. Let me just quickly check it out. Our next show is this Saturday at 10 a.m. and it's Ashley Stinnett, and she is a good friend with Barb Shoup. She's part of that group, and I've met her before and talked to her, and she's got some really interesting things to say. So we're really looking forward to that. Then on Thursday, March 9th, we have Scott Nelson and Ron Moorhead. That'll be really interesting. That's with the Sierra Sounds. And Scott Nelson is a linguist, and he basically, with his expertise, proved that the Sasquatch do have a language, and that what Ron Moorhead was recording in the Sierra Sounds was, authentic. March 16th, we've got Kenneth Collins. He's coming back on again. He's going to talk about some movies he's involved with and and a bunch of other cool stuff. And on the 23rd, we have Gail Fowler again.
Gail, yeah, everybody likes Gail.
Yep. So we got some good shows coming up. And this was a good show. And thanks everybody for showing up. Anything else, Beans?
No. Just everybody stay healthy, and just about time for going out in the woods for most places.
Yep. You got her. Okay, Mr. Beans, we'll check out and we will see you all next time.